Hey everyone, I'm just making this video here. This is kind of my first video tapping into the investing world, and I figured I'm doing this because I'm reaching a milestone in my personal financial life here, and that has to do with reaching a certain number, a certain six-figure number I wanted to hit between my cash equivalents and my retirement accounts here before the age of 30, and I'm actually 25, so I'm just actually turning 26, and it should happen right around age 26 in 10 days. So I have it planned out to when it should happen here. But anyway, I'm making this video for all you younger folks out there looking for, advice on stocks and where to put your money. And this seems like a daunting task, and it is for me as well. It truly is. I've had tons of help along the way here, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's from family members or whatever. So now I just kind of want to share that with you, and I'm actually going to keep doing these little vlog updates like this as well. But my first thing is stay away from crypto. That's the big thing with young people our age. Just stay away from crypto. There's no use in investing in something that isn't tangible. It's not a tangible object. There's nothing to invest in, so why invest it? You don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to investing your money or sticking your money away. You'd be better off putting it into a high yield savings account, for that matter. But again, that's my idea on crypto. I'm not a big fan on it. It's too volatile, and especially for people at our age. You don't need to do it. You just don't need to do it. So anyway, moving on from crypto. These are my holdings. This is what this is what I've got my money in right now. I should make a little side note here. I've got money stacked away in a Apple high yield savings account at 4.15%. And I've got about $6,000 in a Thrivent small cap simple IRA right now that I'm actually going to take out here in the next coming weeks as stocks get better and I make my money back on that, because I'm not very happy with how that fund has been going. And that's another point here. You don't need people to manage your money for you. You can do this yourself as long as you are smart about it. Yes, you can have an account like this with Fidelity, and manage your own money, and that's all good. I agree with that. But with that comes the responsibility of managing your own money. That's what it comes down to. So again, I recommend going to Fidelity, getting one of their online accounts here, and open up your Roth IRA and max that out at least every year. So anyway, going into my holdings here, first I want to start with Amazon. So like I was saying here, going into Amazon, and if we take a look at it, I figured out I can't scroll down, otherwise I would show my account numbers, and that wouldn't be great. So I could create a watch list, but I really don't need to. So Amazon, I want to first go over why I'm invested in this. I use Amazon every day in my business, every day for my home use, my business use, especially my business, because it's easy to just go right on the app and use that software to buy napkins or buy cups or buy landscaping stuff, whatever I need for my business. And we also have Kindles here at home, and those are very nice, and they are tangible. You can actually see the product that Amazon produces. So I like that a lot. This is a really good brand to get into. This is one of the blue bloods. This is one of the biggest companies in the world, and it only makes sense here to get in the company. So one problem is it doesn't pay a dividend, and I'm all about dividend paying stocks and distribution paying funds, and this one doesn't do any of those, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? So if we look at the 1 month here, you can see it's been a little volatile. If you look at the year, Amazon has grown since its stock split. It has grown enough here to make it worthwhile, especially if you bought in during the dip. And you can see that Amazon is now, slowly going up. if you look at the 5-year, you can see that at its peak, Amazon is a very profitable company. It has really good stock returns, and it's definitely a company to get into. I invested in Amazon because I like the product, I like their services, and I also have a family members that work for Amazon. And, that was the main reason why I chose it over Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Meta, companies like that. So, again, you can invest in any of those and you can't go wrong, the names that I just listed. And I have to say I'm happy with Amazon's performance, and I don't see them doing any worse than what they just did coming out of that slump. And they should really, really take some serious growth going forward. That's a good company to get into, if I say so myself. Another one I want to go over with you guys here is Micron. And this is a relatively new company for me, but I invested in Micron when it was about $60, which it has been around $60, for about the last month. I invested right around there. I invested before July 6th, though. I invested in a couple of drops here. July 6th, May, whenever. But I'm happy with Micron right now. I'm impressed with Micron. This is a semiconductor chip company that's being subsidized by the U.S. government. And quite frankly, with everything having semiconductor chips in it right now, this is a starting up company that you can't go wrong investing in. Now, granted, it's not completely starting up, but it hasn't been around as long as NVIDIA has, or AMD. AMD processors or NVIDIA processors, GPUs. Those companies have been around forever. But anyway, everything we use now has semiconductor chips in them. And with the United States' push for energy independence and semiconductor independence here, I only see Micron in the technology sector growing and growing and growing. And this is a brand that I think you should get into. I invested a fair amount of money into it, actually, and I expect to see growth in it. And a lot of the people out there are saying this is a very bearish stock, but I would buy it. I think at any price right now, you're okay to buy it. We've seen how much NVIDIA can go up to. We've seen how much AMD can go up to. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductors. I really think that this is a good stock to get into. I'm full 110% into it here, especially with everything needing semiconductor chips and the chip shortage right now. There's a plant being built in Troy, New York, by Micron, which is being subsidized by the U.S. government right now to help us produce more chips for the United States and for our car manufacturers, our technology manufacturers. The list goes on and on. Another stock I'm in, which is a fantastic one, is Stellantis. So Stellantis has seen a very fair amount of growth within the last year here. And for those of you who don't know who Stellantis is or what they do, Stellantis is, and you can see the recession of the COVID era, unbelievable. Anyway, Stellantis produces Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Alfa, Maserati, a lot of other car brands out there as well. So they own all those brands and thus create Stellantis. So Stellantis, I've had a ton of Stellantis products here. I've owned 9 cars since I was 16. I believe 5 of those or 6 of those have been Stellantis products. I've had 3 Ram trucks, 2 Chrysler cars. So there's been 5. And I've had a Mercedes car, a Genesis car, and 2 Fords. So, yeah, 5 out of the 9 have been Stellantis. My immediate family has owned Stellantis vehicles and still owns Stellantis vehicles. Actually, myself, my mom, my dad, and my girlfriend all have Stellantis vehicles here. So that puts us at 3. That puts us at 5 vehicles for the 4 of us. So I'm a big fan of them. I'm a big fan of what they've been doing the last few years and improving ride quality, overall initial quality in their vehicles. If you look at Alpha, I think Alpha is number 1 on initial quality with their vehicles here in 2023, I want to say. I could be wrong on that. But anyway, they're doing leaps and bounds here to improve their vehicles and improve their vehicles for the future, moving to EV, and making more, economically friendly vehicles. Now, that being said, I love Dodge. I love my V8s. You guys know I have an SRT, so I'm a little sad to see those vehicles go away. And I realize why they have to do that, because they're getting fined just astronomically for their V8s that they're producing. But it still is sad to see those vehicles. Sorry about that. Anyway, it is sad to see those vehicles go away. But Stellantis is making a lot of leaps and bounds here in the right direction. And you really can't go wrong with Ford, Stellantis, or GM right now if you're investing in an automaker. All 3 are doing very well. And I am just happen to be a fan and user of Stellantis vehicles, and I always will be, so I'm going to stick with my Stellantis shares. Stellantis also pays a dividend as well. It's actually a very fair paying dividend, and that's another great stock to get into if you're looking for dividend paying. And I should mention that Micron pays a dividend as well. Amazon does not. The last stock I'm invested in here is Lucid. So Lucid does not pay a dividend. I got caught up in the hype in Lucid here about 3 years ago, right when they reached their second peak. So I believe I want to say I paid $27 or so a share. I invested $1,000 and I've lost about $900. So Lucid has not been great. And when Lucid was coming out, it seemed like a true rival to Tesla. Tesla has boring interiors. Tesla's cars are boring. They truly are. They're an appliance. They're very boring. I thought Lucid was going to be the brand to make the turn and come through and kind of round out Tesla. But rounding out here with with Lucid, like I was saying, I truthfully thought Lucid was going to be the company to round Tesla in terms of electric car production down the line, but that hasn't happened yet. I don't know if I would even recommend getting into Lucid. There's a lot of other electric companies out there, electric car companies out there to invest in. Tesla is a good one, of course, but if you can't get into Tesla, Rivian, Geely, all the China companies that are producing electric cars, but Lucid's not a good one, and it's a damn shame I got into Lucid and wasted all that fucking money, because Lucid had a lot of potential, and quite frankly, I love their cars. They build great cars, except here's the problem: they're just overpriced, and the American consumer, I don't care how fast the car is, they're not going to buy an electric car for $180,000. It's just not going to happen. So with that being said, Lucid probably isn't the best company to buy right now. Moving into my S&P 500 growth, value, and equity funds here, I want to first start with IVW. This is the growth fund from the S&P 500. And all these funds pay a distribution. They're not a ton of money, but they're enough money to help you along here, reinvest that money back into the fund. And these funds here all own a lot of company, or they all hold a lot. They don't own. They hold a lot of different companies in the fund. This growth fund here has 10 great American companies here. I want to say it's Meta, Apple, Amazon, Google, to name a few, along with some banking and financial along with healthcare stocks within the fund itself. And quite frankly, I'm very happy with the IVW fund that I'm in. It pays a distribution. If we look at the 1 month here, we can see some great growth. If we look at the 1 year, we can see some great growth, even from its dip. If you were lucky enough to buy in the dip at $55, $60, and now you're up to $70 to $75, you're doing pretty good. And even if we look at the 5 year here, you can see that the fund is doing very well. And its distribution earnings that it pays out per share is also, a decent amount. Again, I would show you this here if I didn't have to give out my account info to scroll down to see it. But anyway, I love the IVW fund from Fidelity iShares. It's great. It truly is great. Like they say, the best way to get yourself into millionaire status is to invest in the S&P. And I do that. I truly believe in that. I have a lot of my money here in the S&P 500, specifically in this growth fund, and the last fund I will show you here, a value fund. But the IVW is a great fund to get into. One thing, if you're very scared of investing in certain stocks, these S&P 500 funds are great to get into because they're holding so many companies within the actual fund itself. And, the 10 biggest companies, or the 10 companies with the highest percentage yield, usually yield the account its best performance, whether it's positive or negative. And, you're essentially investing in 10 different companies, and you're getting whether they're dividend earners or not, you're getting a distribution from that specific, fund, which is great. So another one I want to get into here is the IVV fund itself. These are your core companies in the S&P 500. I have seen great growth in this fund here, specifically over the 5 year. If you bought in during the dip during COVID, you were basically paying half price. It was $249. So you're basically paying half price of where it could be. Even in the year growth here, you've seen really great growth from about 460 from the low 400s. This does pay a very good dividend too. I like this core fund here because it does pay the dividend, and the top 10 holdings of this fund are very, very good of IVV. Again, there's a lot of S&P 500 different indexes and funds to get into, but I like this IVV right here. It's been very reliable for me. You're always going to see growth in it because the people who choose the holdings in this IVV fund, they're all very smart people. They're all smarter than you and I. They're going to choose companies that make money and that turn a profit and that turn higher stock values. So this is another one to get into that I like. Finally, my favorite fund of them all is my value fund. IVV, prior to the last letter, you would think that IVV is the value fund. It is not. It's an equity fund, core equity. This is the value ETF. And this is my favorite. It's a great low-cost alternative to get into the S&P 500. You can see here it's mid-range between the IVV and the IVW, but it is a low cost. You can see in the year, if you bought the dip, you were going to walk out with some good money in terms of percentage yield there. And it does pay a dividend. This actually has one of the lower dividends out of the three. May be the lowest, actually. But with that being said, the growth in this and the companies that are in IVE are going to render you the best rate of return and are going to give you a sort of confidence investing in the stock market here. And I can't say enough about IVV, or IVE, I should say. I believe I've got $21,000 in that right now in itself. And it's a great, reliable stock or a fund to get into. and you all really should include this in your portfolio for sure. And with that being said, out of the amount of money that I have invested in my portfolio here, not including Thrivent, when I take my money out of Thrivent, that will go to one of these, multiple of these S&P 500 funds here. I'm essentially going to have 70 to 75% of my money in the S&P 500 funds. So this is a really good route to go if you're all worried. And I know at a young age, a lot of people don't know how to invest their money, where to invest their money, and quite frankly, the S&P 500 is truly the best way to go. So feel free to reach out here. I could really go in depth on a ton of stocks, really. And again, I don't feel quite comfortable talking about stocks that I'm not in, because if I'm not invested in them, I'm not invested in trying to tell you how to buy them, quite frankly. But these are the stocks that I'm in. These are the stocks that I like. I really like the funds that I'm in as well. Fidelity offers a great trading platform to use, and you always have to start somewhere. It's amazing that I'm reaching my goal, my financial goal before I'm 30 of where I wanted to be. And, maybe by the time I'm 30, I'll reach a goal that I wanted to hit when I was 35. So I'm just not sure yet. That's a long ways away. But you have to start somewhere, whether you're in high school or college. You have to start saving somewhere. And these stocks and these funds right here offer you a very good way to start saving. And just dollar cost average your way into these stocks and funds, and you will be good to go.